Oh, it's Sunday, and we got a few things to talk about. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well. So, couple things. Number one, and this is probably the best news, is that, and this is right from Gary Phillips reporting. I'm gonna read it out to you. Shout out to Jonathan Fizz, by the way. Jay Cousins, Yankee reliever, he's got a forearm strain. Is not ready to go. Not ready to say he'll miss opening day yet, but he's not rushing anything either. He's 3 weeks into shutting down already, but now he's talking about the next steps day by day. But the good thing is that he did add that there's no ligament damage. No ligament damage. Generally, the ligaments that's associated with your forearm is the UCL, right? Right here. Precursor to what? Tommy John surgery. So that's good news for the Yankees. Encouraging news for the Yankees. Either way, I think they would have been okay because they've stockpiled relievers left and right. But this one right here is good because Jay Cousins was one of their more reliable relievers when he came here, and especially in the second half of the season. So I'm happy to hear that. So if you're not sub to this channel, make sure you hit that sub button and that like button. If you just love hearing about the Yankees, love hearing good news, you just want to be kept in the loop on everything. Okay, and I thank you for it. That's number one. Number two is a signing. Okay, this is from Bob Nightingale, veteran infielder Paul DeYoung. Who he has agreed to a 1-year, $1 million contract with the Washington Nationals. No surprise. I wanted to add some pieces, right? So good low-key signing, needed a veteran infielder, and I don't think he was going to get starting opportunities in a lot of places, but he might. I don't even know if he's going to get a starting opportunity with Washington, but it's a good signing by the Nationals. I know people talked about him with the Yankees as well, but the Yankees clearly have different plans. Okay, and if he was part of their plans, they would have probably signed him at that money. So it is what it is. So, but congratulations to Paul DeYoung. Congratulations to the Nationals. Okay. Now, the last piece of information I wanted to share with you on a Sunday. Okay. If there's more information to share later, I'll be back. I promise you that. Especially as it relates to the Yankees. But this one right here, okay, I wanted to share because this is music to my ears, baby. All right. It's coming up on the screen. What does that say? Brendan Donovan hints at the Cardinals' hypocrisy in arbitration case. He lost his arbitration case with the St. Louis Cardinals this week. If you haven't heard, Jim Edmonds was kind of ripping the organization apart last week as well. And now it looks like there's another player here who's a very valuable asset to the Cardinals who's potentially unhappy. St. Louis Cardinals took Donovan to the arbitration, and they did an about face when discussing Donovan's contributions to the squad. Okay, let's keep going. The St. Louis Cardinals have begun to develop a reputation for pinching pennies, and that has extended to the tendency to take players to arbitration when they can't agree on a salary. Arbitration is a messy business, yes. As utility player, Brendan Donovan can now attest to after he lost his case and will be provided a salary of $2.85 million instead of his requested $3.3. Donovan said he was humbled by the process, but he also mentioned that some of his supposedly valuable traits were used against him during the case. Okay. And you have a tweet here by Brendan Schaefer. Pertaining to Brendan Donovan's experience in arbitration, was he clear up front how humbling? He was clear up front about how humbling the experience was. I'm not a disgruntled employee by any means. I'm very humble in victory and humble in defeat. He didn't want to divulge any details on things his team said, and so on and so forth. We'll keep going here. Donovan seems to have done everything the Cardinals wanted since debuting for them in 2022. He's played third base, shortstop, and second base, first base, and right field and left field, and has been named the team's most emergency catcher as well. He won the inaugural Gold Glove Award for the utility position in 2022 and holds the highest WRC plus of any player who has played at least 30 games at a minimum of 5 different positions. I'm going to attach this article down below. Okay? I'm going to attach this down below for you to read. And because I think it's interesting. I'll give it a little bit more insight, but get that off the screen. There you go. If there's ever any time for the Yankees to call the Cardinals and say, dude, what do you want for Brendan Donovan? It is now. I've said this too. Instead of a ridiculous overpay for Alex Bregman, a ridiculous overpay for Carlos Correa, right? Um, Overpaying for some of these other guys, overpaying in terms of prospects for Willie Castro. He could be a good fit, but he only has 1 year of control left. Donovan's got 3, and he's better. I think he would be a better. And I've been talking about this guy for years, so this is music to my ears. And I feel bad that it happened, but if the Yankees ever had an opportunity to get a guy who could make a difference for them, it'd be right now. I don't know what it would cost, no idea, but and I hope that they're doing that behind the scenes. I'm not going to assume that they're not. I'm not going to join the house, cheap baloney and Cashman's weak baloney. I'm not joining the talking points brigade. Okay, it's worthless, especially when people can't back their arguments up with facts. So, but this one right here, this is the guy I've talked about for about 2 years who would be a perfect fit for the Yankees. You could plug him right at third base. He could also be the leadoff hitter, which would solve a lot of problems for the Yankees in one swoop. Now, it might cost Clark Schmidt. It might cost something else, unless the Cardinals are looking to add players instead of pitchers. Then I would offer them Roderick Arias. I would offer them either Oswald Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera, and another prospect or two. Not named Jason Dominguez, not named Spencer Jones. And I would love to be able to keep Clark Schmidt if I could. But I've always said, if you're going to trade Clark Schmidt, you got to trade him with a player who has at least the same amount of controllable years. And they both have 3. So that matters. And Brendan Donovan is the guy. I think he would be a perfect fit for this Yankees team. So this article I found pretty interesting. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to trade him, because they're still obviously trying to trade Arenado, but they're tying their own hands here by playing too much hardball for Nolan Arenado. So maybe it's time for the Yankees to try to jump in and fly under the radar and say, try to snatch Brendan Donovan from them. You guys can keep Arenado, right? Keep your future Hall of Famer. We'll take Brendan Donovan off your hands. Something like that. I don't know if it's possible, but this is the move I would be all after right now. And again, the earlier, and he may not even be moved until the trade deadline, if that's the case. But I still don't see the Yankees going in-house to solve the third base problem. So I am not convinced that they're going to go in-house. Not saying I know who they're going to bring in, and the options are dwindling, obviously. But again, this just came out of nowhere. Okay? This came out yesterday. And this possibly presents an opportunity for Brian Cashman to pounce. But like I said, too, that doesn't mean by pouncing he's going to get it, because there's going to be no shortage of suitors. But this is where I'd be on the phone before other people get on the phone. Try to facilitate a deal so that it doesn't become a crazy situation, right? Let us solve some problems for you, Cardinals. We got a bunch of these guys here. We got a bunch of prospect depth. We'll give you pitchers and position players, whatever, right? So I'm hoping that the Yankees are able to capitalize on this, but we'll see. Nothing can happen out of this too. He can stay with the Cardinals, and he seems to be a player that's not going to become a malcontent, and so on and so forth. So, and if he stays, he stays. But if he comes, he's a pretty happy man. But give me your thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are. Is this an opportunity for the Yankees to pounce? And again, what would you give up for a guy like Brendan Donovan? That's the key. What would you give up? Okay, I would have no problem offering Roderick Arias, even Oswaldo or Peraza. They're not going to take Stroman, right? They're not going to take DJ. So let's put that fantasy to bed, please. Okay, the Stroman for Arenado, I'd be surprised if that happens. And I've said this too. Arenado felt like inevitable at some point for the Yankees, right? In some ways, I still feel that. So much conflicting reporting, regardless, but it just seems It's a logical fit there. But if this becomes a potential possibility for the Yankees, then Nolan Arenado is the second guy on my list in St. Louis, not the first. Brendan Dunman is number one on my list. Let's get into it. Let me know what your thoughts are. Talk to you later.